Okay, we're going to move on to remarks and inquiries by the City Commission, and I'm going to start, if you don't mind, I'm going to take the liberty and start because I have some comments of my own. And I'm going to start by telling you that the day after the last commission meeting, I actually was on a plane with my husband and my mother and have been gone since Sunday night. And so I haven't been even in the state of New Mexico, much less in Alamogordo. And obviously I came back and found out with everybody else Rick's decision. So I want to be clear, while I can't speak to any specifics concerning personnel matters at this moment, and my comments should be considered my opinion and not that of any other commissioner, I would like to address some concerns that have become an ongoing issue that have forced a good man to reevaluate his position within our city. There are people in our city that genuinely love and care about the community in which they live. These people work tirelessly every day with the goal of making our city the very best it can be. Having said that, everyone likely has a different opinion about how that should be done, about what our priorities should be, and about how we should get there. I've personally been on this commission now for just a little over 8 years, and I have seen, heard, and definitely learned so much about our community and its members. I have seen and had the absolute privilege of working with the very best people, but I have also had the opportunity to deal with the worst people. People who seek to destroy the reputations of good, honest, hardworking people simply because of bitter envy or petty jealousy. People who believe that if it doesn't affect them, it shouldn't be a priority. People who perceive themselves as more entitled than others and don't believe our ordinances or policies should apply to them. I often refer to them as big fish in a little pond, and they honestly believe that there should be a different set of rules for them. People who want to tell others how dumb or useless they are, but will never step up themselves to be part of real solutions. People who sit behind a computer screen and join the masses who think that their city government is corrupt, throw baseless accusations, but never once produce one shred of evidence to prove their ridiculous statements, and will never show up to an actual commission meeting or even go back and watch the live stream to verify their facts first. These people are content to read the garbage, literal garbage, perpetuated on social media, often by irresponsible so-called journalists with a personal agenda and an axe to grind. My minor for my graduate degree happened to be in sociology, so I'm a naturally curious, for my undergraduate degree, so I'm naturally curious when it comes to people and what makes them tick. I'm always curious about why anyone would use their platform to say such horrible and factually incorrect things about people who are working so hard to make this community a better place. For example, Alamogordo Main Street and the numerous volunteers associated with that organization have given up much personal time to plan and execute the revitalization of our downtown area, and it's going to be spectacular. I was on social media the other day and saw their post, and the comments, oh my gosh, the comments were absolutely outrageous. The ugliness, the hatred, the pettiness, it was honestly embarrassing. The new Sacramento School of Science and Technology is an exciting and innovative idea that will give our students options for learning. Yet the ugliness that has been spewed against good, hardworking people that just want to provide opportunities is incredibly disheartening. And then, of course, there's the old age narrative that certain families rule the community and they decide which businesses are allowed to come to town. Complete nonsense, I assure you. Finally, how about the personal attacks that have been posted on social media? I have been a victim of some of the most outrageous lies that were honestly almost comical. I don't know sometimes whether to laugh or be insulted that people believe I'm that petty and desperate. The latest ones are the mayor gets free water, and the mayor doesn't care about her constituents, or the commission is lining their pockets with our money. And most of the people that say that, they probably don't even pay taxes, to be honest with you. So what is my point to all of this? As you just heard, this past week, our city manager made the difficult decision to tender his resignation. While I'm incredibly disappointed by this news, I can't say I'm surprised. When Rick began his tenure with the city, he was fired up. He was ready to go. He was excited about the journey he was about to embark on, and I believed, and still do, that he was just the person to lead us forward. Unfortunately, I've personally seen that spark slowly fade the past few months, and I've had some real concerns about his decision to continue. I was personally out of state when he submitted the resignation, as I told you earlier, and was notified with all my fellow commissioners of his decision. And while I'm saddened by the news, I'm also angry at what led to this moment. On Sunday, a social media post came out from one of those irresponsible journalists I spoke about earlier, in which the writer stated that his comments were corroborated by 3 sources. That was a comment he made. His comments suggested that Commissioner Reardon was the culprit along with another commissioner, which I find interesting, honestly, particularly since no one would have known anything unless there was an employee of the city or a city commissioner that told him. My suspicion is the person was dishonest in his statement, but I suppose we'll never know. What I do know is that without a doubt, that was one of the most irresponsible pieces of trash that I have ever read, and I'm not sure what was worse, the fact that he said it or the fact that people, well, I'm not surprised, were so quick to believe it. In my graduate studies that I mentioned earlier, I had a required reading of, it was called Democracy in America by Alexis de Tocqueville. If you haven't read it, I would suggest you study because it's interesting. Everyone should read this, but it really is fascinating. He traveled America in the 1800s, early 1800s, and one of the things he spoke about that has always stuck with me is his term of the tyranny of the majority, which basically is majority rule or tyranny of the masses. Social media definitely applies here. We all want to cite the Constitution when it's convenient for us and disregard it when it doesn't fit our narrative. I think we can all agree that this absolute document provides us with certain freedoms, unless you are an elected official. For example, the irresponsible journalist I mentioned earlier can hide behind the Constitution when he produces blatantly false information and cites an anonymous source. He doesn't have to prove anything, and he routinely takes advantage of many who are just too lazy to investigate the truth. It's what he counts on, and some people fall for it hook, line, and sinker. On the other hand, an elected official is silenced by the law, leaving certain situations open to speculation that that same journalist then takes advantage of because he knows we can't say anything. There are times, however, when they go way too far and they need to be called out. There was one time where he suggested on social media that my husband, who is an incredibly hardworking man and has a home renovation business, was unethical. His business was unethical just because I'm the mayor. I was really surprised. I guess we're not allowed to make a living. I don't know. Then there's the numerous times he continuously slants, omits. There were 2 days in April where he conveniently forgot to print the police activity, and blatantly lies about individuals because he's so desperate for attention that the truth becomes obsolete. Listen, I think it's obvious that I don't always agree with my commissioners, my fellow commissioners, and the same can be said about them with me. But I respect the fact that they have stepped up to serve their community. The most recent garbage that he put out about Commissioner Reardon without any regard for the facts or how it could harm him personally demonstrates his clear lack of integrity when it comes to journalism. Once again, hiding behind the Constitution and his right to put in print whatever he wants. And unfortunately, that same Constitution gives us the inability to protect us simply because we are elected officials. I can't imagine that any of our city employees are providing information to this man. However, if you are, then I've lost respect for you. On the other hand, I do find it suspect that he had such detailed versions of events, even if they were not truth, and I do have to wonder where he got this idea. Then again, I have serious trust issues, even more so. after this. I know that talking about him so much is just feeding his ego, because it seems he has this weird need for attention, even if it's negative. And making these comments will generate a plethora of comments from the mayor is just looking for attention to, well, that's what they signed up for. And frankly, it's to be expected, so I will just have to consider the source. I can almost see the headline now, but, well, I don't care. We can't control individuals who commit crimes. That's a personal choice and not the fault of the city. We can't force businesses to stay in our community. That's determined by the consumer and their decision to shop there. We can't fix the negligence of the past. All we can do is take our hits and try to ensure it doesn't happen again. Nonetheless, it's incredibly unfortunate that we've become a society that would rather believe the lies than investigate the truth. The keyboard warriors that feel empowered when they sit behind their screen and try to literally destroy the reputation of good people that they've never even met because of envy, jealousy, a need for sensationalism, and yes, even pure hatred. They, along with the people that want to bully our staff with idle threats without even giving them a chance to find a resolution before they start calling every commissioner, representative, and senator to try and apply pressure, are the very reason I always say this is why we can't have nice things. It is also the reason a good man has made a difficult decision that it's just not worth it anymore. Honestly, Rick, I hope you're watching, because I couldn't agree with you more, and I say to myself all the time the very same thing. Yet here I am, the crazy one, coming back for more, because despite all the ugliness and all the lies, I am confident we are doing a great job, and personally, I have way more supporters than I do detractors. Together, working with like-minded people, such as the Center of Commerce, APS, and Holden Air Force Base, and the F4 Committee, and more, we are moving our city forward the best way we know how. And hopefully, if we don't let the social media critics discourage us, one day we will have nice things. And that's all I've got.